people want to build a beautiful little arena or an event studio or, and those will be one story and they'll be timber and they'll be beautiful, but we're not going to be as cost competitive as when we're at 8 and 12 stories. What we are seeing is lower vacancy rate. That is 100% accurate. Like people want to live in these units. And there's been a lot of wonderful studies that show when people are around
we need a question there.
Environments, exposed wood furniture, plants, your blood pressure is down. They find reduced heart rate. And I think they tested people and do complicated little tests. And the people who were in the wood and plants and things, they operated better and they didn't get as frustrated. They didn't get as worked around as people who were in like a white box with a fluorescent lit ceiling. Like they were able to kind of handle these things better. And I mean, wouldn't we want to give that to everyone, especially for our vulnerable populations? Like, let's de-escalate your living environment as much as possible.
What does mass timber?
You don't have to do much difference between concrete and steel. Now,
119. So I'm trying to review this podcast real because I think there's some elements I think I can leave out here.
The wood is exposed on the outside of the building. It needs to be maintained.
19.
The same with your deck or a porch on your house that is exposed to coverage. You gotta seal it. When you're on the interior of the building, it's protected from
119 to 132. Right, delete 119 to 132. Delete 119 to 132. Let's see.
Or an event studio, or and those will be one story. But we're not going to be as cost competitive as one more.
Huh?
Why should I always use gifts?
Where should get all these gifts?
Yeah.
What was part of the party favors?
That's a great favor.
At 8 and 12 stories. What we are seeing is lower vacancy rate. That is 100%.
Lower vacancy. Okay, so benefits.
Vacancy rate. That is 12 stories. What we are seeing is lower vacancy.
Before 026. Before 026. Go pee, go pee. At 026, I think we need to put in either a question where I ask about the benefits. Let's see. Is there a part where I asked a question about what the benefits are of using mass timber? Let's see.
That is 100% accurate. Like people want to live in these units, and there's been a lot of wonderful studies that show when people are around natural wood environments, exposed wood furniture, plants, your blood pressure is down.
Reduce heart rate. Stop at reduce heart rate at. Let's see. Stop at reduce heart rate. Stop at reduced heart rate at 044.
And I think they tested people and the people who were in the wood and they didn't get as worked around as people who were in the white box, the fluorescent light thing. Like they were able to kind of handle these things better. And I mean, wouldn't we want to give that to everyone, especially for our vulnerable populations? Like let's de-escalate your living environment as much as possible.
Summary and delete until 112.
You don't have to do much difference between concrete and steel.
112 to 119. Stop at you don't need much compared to concrete and steel. Okay.
Now, if the wood is exposed on the outside of the building, it needs to be maintained. or a porch on your house that doesn't feel it, building content, and all those other things, that would cause an infinite life and moisture content. Protected from weather and moisture content. Protected from weather. It's protected from the exterior of the building. But when you're on the interior,
All right. And pick it back up at, but when you're on the interior.
of the building is protected from UV, it's
Protect-
protected from technical with very little maintenance. Really, the only concern that I tell people, it's not going to happen on a big commercial building, but you just got to keep airflow. The funny, even after you cut them down, they have moisture in them, they have oxygen in them, things like that. So we just need to make sure that the air is moving around. And other than that, the building can really be resilient for many, many years to come.
208, many years to come.
You could stain it over every 5 to 10 years. It wouldn't be because the timber requires that from a maintenance standpoint. There's 1,000-year-old wood buildings in Japan. So if you there's no reason why this building wouldn't be 100, 200, 300 years old in this country. Oh my gosh, you're going to go out and cut down all these trees to build these buildings, and then how is that really changing our environment? First of all, this is a cyclical process, and as we remove, we're putting back. But then also, you just get these lovely moments where you've trapped all this carbon, and then by making sure that doesn't become a piece of paper or a duvet in a couple of these buildings, timber is that we are using the 2x4 and the 2x6. So what's different about mass timber is that.
Wait. What's different about mass timber?
We are using the 2x4 and the 2x6 that you get at Home Depot, but we're gluing those pieces together and then making larger things out of them. So we don't need large old growth timber. We can use readily available timber. We can use timber that's been thinned out of forests, or timber that has beetle kill or fire damage or any of those kind of other resources. We can use that. And then through the advent of pressing and gluing, we can make these larger pieces. So it really helps environmentally. It kind of allows us to utilize wood that already exists in our marketplace. I think it's really important to point out that we're cutting down less trees in America now than we ever have in the last 200 years when you look at it. And our forests are brimming. We don't necessarily need to go out and fully clear cut them, but we need to go in and we need to manage them. There's plenty of forest available in this country for us to cut down, and mass timber is only about 4%, only about 4% of the wood in the market. Toilet paper is probably one of the biggest users of wood. Maybe I personify trees too much, but if I was going to be cut users of wood,
Oh, 9. So I want to keep that part, but I don't want to delete from 409 to 420. She says toilet paper uses more wood. Okay. So that's what I'll start in terms of doing, right? And then the trail is really important to me because the trailer really helps me understand what's going on with all these properties, right? Now, let's see. For the last part of the trailer, the structure is in the beauty, 13 months instead of 12 months, sweet spot. On the surface, materials look more expensive, but you take a math and look between your thing. One story, nothing's different. It does require you under different hoops and gymnastics. Working very closely with a contractor, having them build out your schedule and believe them. two types of ways. Architect schematic designs. Let's see. Okay, actually, I think we should delete the entire last part. Okay. Stop at 2.8. Delete everything else after 208. Instead, I think we should find a part where she talked about how. So there's a part I remember from my conversation, how she about how people can build something in 13 months versus 15 months for real life savings, for real project savings. Afterwards, there is a part where she explains what prefab is versus modular, and they use steel brace frames and concrete cores for stability, and then it's repetition for same unit over and over. Then there was a part where she talked about how closely you have to work with your subcontractor to realize these efficiency gains, and they have to believe TimberLab because they can really install much faster than steel. Where they'll say it can be built in 2 weeks, but it really takes 5 days. It will be built in. All right, and those are the edits. So hopefully this is helpful for everybody. I just want you to kind of see how I think through the trailers to make sure that we're getting the most impact up front for people. All right, have a good one, everybody. See you all tomorrow.